that I'm going to talk on today, and one is the past, and the other is focusing on God. And I'm going to kind of tie these together, so stick with me as I go through this. But there's a song that I listen to, again, music, that really got me kind of thinking on this, and the chorus of that song says this. It's entitled "Beautiful Pain." Kind of weird, but it makes sense. The chorus says this. It says, standing in the flames, it's a beautiful kind of pain, setting fire to yesterday. And then it says, find the light. And so first I want to talk about the beautiful pain part of the song. We got to be able to let go of the yesterdays, whether it's good or bad or anything in between. We got to be able to let go of those yesterdays. And what happens is we tend to actually go and, that was a change. We tend to go and actually hold on to those things. We say we got rid of them, but really what happens is we almost just kind of put them into the trash can of our lives and leave them right there in that trash can. And the reason I say that is because how many of you guys have cooked a dinner, whether it was good dinner or, not so good dinner, but the leftovers, you throw them away in the trash can. You forget that they're there. They sit there overnight. You come home from work the other day, you walk by the trash can, and what in the world? And you smell the smell. You forgot about it. You slept all night. You went to work. It was out of sight, out of mind. All of a sudden, you walk by that trash can, and boom. You're like, oh, it reminds you. It's still there. And that's kind of the way it is with the past, is we just kind of tuck it away, and we're like, oh, you know what? It's gone. It's out of sight, out of mind, until something comes up that triggers it, and all the emotions come back. Everything comes back with it. And a lot of times, if you leave it in the trash can, you smell it when you walk by. But if you leave it in there longer, pretty soon when you walk in the house, you're smelling it as soon as you walk in, right? And if you just keep it in there, have you guys ever walked into a house, and hopefully this doesn't offend anybody, but you walk into a house and you go, man, what is that smell? But they have no idea. They become completely nose blind to the smell in the house. And that's honestly what can happen to us with our past. We just deal with it, and it becomes part of life, and we become nose blind to what's going on in our lives that our past is dictating it. And so we really got to learn to actually get rid of it. And that's why I like this song where it says, setting fire to yesterday. And fire actually gets rid of things. It truly does. It's not like just putting it into a bin. Fire really actually gets rid of things. And when we had a bonfire out here a while back with the youth, and we had this youth night. And during part of that, we just had a small little group lesson. And what I had them do is I had everybody in the youth that wanted to write down something that they felt maybe was holding them back from getting closer to God. And they wrote it down on this card, and we had them throw it in the fire. And that's just symbolic, because what happens is when that fire dies out, they can't go in and get the paper and reread the paper and look at it. It's gone. It's ash. It's not there. You can't rebuild it. You can't put it back together. It's gone. And so that's really, what we got to learn to do is actually set fire to the past. Let go of it and let it be. And what happens is I don't know if any of you guys have done this, but I tried this on my pool side. There was some grass coming up the cracks. So I went and got one of those torch burners, right? You can just burn it. And I burned the grass. And I kid you not, 2 days later it came back greener than it was when I burned it. So it's almost like the ash becomes a fertilizer. We need to learn from the past, and the ash is there. You see the ash, and you remember it. You know what happened, but ash can't stop you from moving forward. Ash can't stop you from progressing in your life. It can simply remind you and fertilize your growth. That's all it can do. And so that's really what we got to do, is actually start to set fire to the past, not just tuck it away, but actually get rid of it. I want to read a verse real quick. And it's Luke chapter 3, verse 16. And it says this, John answered them all, I baptize you with water, but one who is more powerful than I will come, the straps of whose sandals I am not worthy to untie. He will baptize you with the Holy Spirit and with fire. And the baptism is the biggest way to explain being able to let go of the past. That's the whole point of baptism, right? You go in, you come up as a new creation, the past is old, all things are new, you got a new life ahead of you, and that's the way that goes. So, with knowing that, now I'm gonna go into the next part of this, where in that chorus, after it says, it's beautiful kind of pain, sitting in the fire, burning yesterday, at the end it says, find the light, find the light, find the light, 3 times. And today works really good that all the kids are in here, because in VBS, we learned that Jesus is the light. Right? Hey guys, kids, who was here during VBS? Who was here? All right, what happens? Jesus is the light. Follow him. And that's, in every situation, that's really what we need to do, guys, is every situation, we need to be looking for Christ in the situation. We need to be focusing on where Jesus is. Where is Jesus at in this situation? In that verse, it talks about being baptized in water, and then it talks about Christ baptizing you in the Holy Spirit and in fire. And in my study Bible, when I was really looking into this verse, really what it talks about is it says when God says that he's baptizing you in the fire, what it is that is actually giving you the power within yourself to do the will of God. He's actually giving you the power to do the will of God. And we need to keep focusing on him. Last night I watched some UFC fights. I don't know how many of you guys are UFC fights, but these guys trained, the main event, these guys trained super hard. And they both said, hey, there was days where I was tired, didn't really want to train, but I knew the guy that I'm going up against wants to beat me just as bad as I want to beat him, and he's not resting, so I can't rest. And so we gotta realize that we have an opponent out there, and his name is Satan. And every day, he doesn't rest, guys. He's not resting. He's not taking a break of, let Green, do her thing today, no big deal. He's always wanting to do something to trip you up on your walk with God. He's always wanting to plot against you, get you stumbling, get you doubting. Anything he can do, he's out to do it. And we have to learn to train our spiritual self to be able to fight those battles. We got to get into the Word. We got to seek God. We got to have daily... And guys, honestly, this is one of the points where I have to get better at. I have to have more personal time with just me and God. I got to be able to just say, you know what, this time I'm going to focus on God. I'm going to read his word. I'm going to pray. I'm going to sit quiet and listen for him. And those are the things that are going to get us stronger, because what happens in the UFC, if they were going to be going into a fight and there's a guy that's young and he's been training and he's been on a winning streak, and then he's going to fight this guy that's been retired for 3 years, hasn't done any training in 3 years, that younger guy is probably going to win. So, and it's not because the other guy wasn't a good fighter. It's because he stopped improving. He stopped, moving forward. He's not as strong as he was before. And that's what happens. A lot of times we become Christians from the start just real quick. And we're gung-ho. We're going. We're working with Jesus. We're reading the Bible. And then a little bit later on down the road, it kind of slows. And our progression starts to stop. And what we need to do is we actually got to learn to really discipline ourselves to focus on Jesus. It takes a discipline. We can't just go through the daily life. And that's a lot of what happens to me, guys. I get distracted. There's so many distractions, so busy all the time. Work and family and church and doing this and doing that. And amidst all that, you have to discipline yourself to give yourself time with just you and God and really learn what he wants. And then really what happens is when we can truly learn to do this, we had our vision slide up there that says, we need your help to impact thousands of people in the Yuma community. That's what we want to do with love, hope, and purpose. We want to inspire thousands. And this is where, when you learn to start focusing on God and in every situation of your life, following the light of Jesus Christ, that's when you're going to start doing this. It may not always be in church. You guys, Melissa is honestly a perfect example with her testimony she gave last week, because there's a part of this song that says, let me read this real quick. It says, exhale deep and breathe a sigh of relief. As you say goodbye to the grief, it's like watching the walls melt in your prison cell. That's exactly what can happen as you guys focus on Jesus Christ. He'll take down the walls that are prohibiting you from reaching other people. Because, Melissa gave an awesome testimony of exactly that. She was battling the anxiety and the stress and whatever else she was going through, and she wasn't reaching the people she knew she could reach because she was so tied up in almost this prison of anxiety. And she decided to turn to Jesus, the light, give it to him, focus on him, look for him. And within 2 days, she was already praying with somebody in the hallway of her work because she's no longer trapped in that prison of anxiety. And that's really what we need to look for, guys, is Jesus in every situation. Find him. Don't worry about the past. The past is gone. Jesus is the refiner. He's going to burn it out for you. Focus on him. Let him do the rest. So that's, it's youth pastor style. It's short and sweet. But that's really what I have for you guys today. Is I really want to challenge you guys to don't just throw the bad situations or the past into a trash can of your life. Amen. Truly get it out of your life. And another example is the computer there. I can go through and delete, and then I can bring it all back because it's still in the trash bin of the computer. You actually have to go and empty the trash bin to get rid of it. Right. And so I want to challenge you guys, really honestly, focus on Jesus Christ. Push towards him. Give your time daily towards him, and he's going to take care of the rest. Doesn't matter what's in your past. It really doesn't. It could have been something really good that was going on in your past that ended that you didn't think was going to end. It could be anything in your past, and God will use it. God will use it. That's what I got today. Thank you guys. I appreciate being able to come up here.